What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Herself podcast. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. New episodes every Thursday, and today is also the first of the month, which is crazy if you're listening to this the day it came out. Happy September, y'all. Happy last little few months of the year, wrapping it up. As always, if you enjoy this week's episode, don't forget to screenshot, take an aesthetic pic or boomerang of you listening in your car, on your TV, on your hot girl walk, on a picnic, doing some quaint activities. Post it on your story and tag me so I can repost, retweet, all of that. Thank you so much to everyone who shared last week. And beverage check, quaint story time as well, okay, let me just show y'all. So this is 3 shots of espresso. I do have an espresso machine, like a pod. It's not a Keurig, but it's like a similar, model, whatever. I don't know. Does anyone know, like, do you have to clean those? Because the last time I tried to make it, it tasted like dirt. Like, it was not a good time. Anyway, so a good hack, go to Starbucks and you order 2 or 3 shots of espresso over ice in a venti cup. Then you go home. This is like if you're working at home or just doing things at home, whatever. And then you can add your own blend of water, milk. Because whenever I order an iced Americano, it's always very questionable. Most of the time, they do not put enough ice in, or they do it wrong, so they put the espresso over the ice, and it just all melts right away. I like a lot of ice in my coffee drinks, iced coffee drinks. So I'd rather just get the espresso over the ice, have the cup full of ice, and then have room to add my own. So it's not quite a latte, it's not quite an Americano, but it's like a blend. I want it to be a venti cup. I do this on the app, so it says venti cup on the order sticker. And why did they give me a tall? So basically the whole thing was just full of espresso. And it had melted. I was so... Bro, and like, y'all know, like, I just know if you listen to this podcast or you follow me, like, y'all know, like, I've been on this journey, speaking up for myself. If it feels awkward, I'm like, oh no, it's okay. I'm like, no, like, let's ask them to remake it. Let's, push past the discomfort, get over the good girl syndrome, get over the people pleasing. And when you're just like so over it, like, bro, like, about to start my period, like, I'm already just like pissed off. I'm like looking forward to this coffee drink to brighten my day a little. And you're telling me I can't even have that. And then, so I stood there for like a little bit, like by the mobile order, and I'm just kind of waiting to catch someone's eye, and like nobody's even around. So I'm just like, bro, like, okay, whatever. I don't even care. I don't want them to remake it. It's just like the cup. But then it's like, if they just transfer this to another cup, there's going to be no ice in it because it's basically all melted anyway. But it's like, so whatever. I just came home. But it was so weird. I was like, oh, maybe they're out of venti cups. I look, venti, ice drink cups, full stock. It says on the sticker, venti, like 3 shots of espresso over ice, venti cup. Why did you put it in a tall? And it's just weird because I know it's like, at least last year, I think, maybe before, it was super, like, it was like a trendy drink for people to go get that, and then they would add like a chocolate Ensure or something, like some kind of chocolate protein over that. So I know it's like a thing people order, I don't know, just so annoying. And I just did not. I was like, bro, like, at a certain point, what if I wanted to put my Ensure in this? Like, with that being said, I did see a post, and I've seen a post like this before, and it's so funny because my sister and I were just talking about this over the weekend, and then today, Monday, I saw it on my feed. This is from Millennial Therapist, and it is 17 ways to discern if you should say something or leave things unsaid. So the main reasons to speak up are when you will regret not saying something, when not speaking up would be an act of self-abandonment, when saying something can help, when the relationship you have with that person warrants it, when it can enhance your relationship with that person, when the person appears open to receiving feedback, when you're standing up for what you believe in, and I think low-key, the most importantly, when you're being hurt. I'm not saying these things apply in this situation. I think this is just such a classic example because I know so many of us, like, this is the thing that can be so hard because it's like, bro, I don't want to be like rude. Like, I don't want to be like a Karen, like, remake my drink. And so it's just like a little thing. And I will also say, I feel like this was less of a big deal because it was just the cup size. It wasn't the actual order. To me, it didn't feel like, oh, I'm making excuses because I'm scared to say something. It just like, I was like, whatever, like, this just is dumb at this point. But if you're going to go get your drink and you're like, oh, they made it wrong. Oh, they made it with dairy instead of non-dairy. Or, oh, I wanted it iced, but they made it hot. And you kind of have that like, oh, well, it's okay. Like, I think that's a situation where it's like, no, bitch, like, speak up for yourself. Like, if you're just polite and nice and understanding, you know, most of the time they'll be happy to do that. And it's like, if you're polite and nice and they give you attitude, it's like, at least you know you're being reasonable and at least you'll get your drink remade. So no offense. So obviously this Instagram post is like more so about personal, you know, relationships, interpersonal relationships, and not like, I'm really hurt you made my Starbucks wrong. But anyways, this is when to leave things unsaid. When the person is not ready to receive feedback, when it won't make a difference, when it can hurt someone unnecessarily, when there's an alternative, when speaking doesn't align with your role in the relationship, when it goes against the boundaries the person has set, when it will make things worse, when we don't know the person or the situation well enough, and when speaking is motivated by revenge. So I think this is a good checklist, especially when it is hard for you. I mean, this can be helpful for everyone, but I know, you know, most people that listen to this podcast, you relate more so to like it being hard for you to speak up or like falling into that, yeah, like good girl syndrome or like anxiety queens. And I think the reason or low-key excuse I've used for myself a lot is like, oh, well, I don't want to be mean. What if they take that the wrong way? So this is a good checklist to kind of go through. Something that just really stood out to me is in the when to speak up category is just when you're being hurt is a reason to speak up. And this is where learning how to communicate your own feelings is so important, because it's one thing to feel hurt, but then to use a lot of you statements and like basically just cause the other person to get super defensive. Like, well, you did this and it's like, you're trying to communicate that you're hurt, but you're not using I statements and it's not coming across like I want to share how I'm feeling or I want to let you know that I'm hurt. It's coming across like you're mad or blamey. And I think also depending on the situation, it can be helpful to speak up and share your feelings. Like, again, not to be attacky or use you statements or anything, but to share your own feelings when it's going to make you feel better. Like, regardless of how the other person reacts or what they say, like low-key, sometimes it just feels good to get it out, to share how you're feeling and just so the other person knows. And if this is something that you've struggled with for a while, like I know I, especially just over this past year, like learning all this stuff, it makes me experience a lot of anger about past situations, like anger towards how could that person treat me that way, but then also like how could I let myself be treated that way, you know? So now if I'm telling somebody that something hurt my feelings or made me feel however, it feels good because it's like I'm speaking up for my past self too. And it's like, okay, like, yes, that frustrated me, so I'm not going to let that happen again. The same goes for like setting boundaries. Like sometimes it can feel so scary to set a boundary, especially with a friend or like someone close. I know for myself, like thinking of my past self when I didn't do that, it's just such a relief. And the relief and just like, okay, now I know I got me outweighs the like discomfort of setting the boundary, you know? So anyway, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. But yeah, I think, you know, especially in friendships, it's definitely important to communicate how you're feeling. And especially from the jump, there's never really anything to lose when you're being real. And again, that means genuinely like being vulnerable, sharing how you're feeling. Because bitch, if you're going around like, you did this and you are like this and you, it's like, well, what? I'm just being real. It's like, no, you're kind of being like rude and not vulnerable. Like you're kind of in attack mode. But when you're actually being real with someone, it's just a good kind of indicator of where the friendship is going to go, where the relationship is going to go. Because if they're not able to hear you, if they're not able to, I don't know, if you're like, this really hurt my feelings, it's like, how are they going to respond to that? If you're just being real, you know, like, and it takes a lot, but it's like worth it in the end, because I've had friendships where, you know, I've been real and it's brought us closer together and it kind of creates that trust. Like, okay, like I can share something with you. Now you feel comfortable sharing something with me, whether it's just like something personal or it's like between us, like something, I don't know, maybe something that bothered them, or, you know, you're not going to take it well. And it's like, okay, well, do I really want to pursue a deeper friendship with someone who is unable to meet me halfway. So yeah, especially with Mercury retrograde coming up, this is a good time to just keep all of these things in mind. And, you know, communication can be a little messy. So I'm just, you know, I'm chalking up my Starbucks experience to just Mercury retrograde. So it is a new month, y'all. And y'all know, I've talked about it in the last few podcasts and in a recent vlog. Should already be up by this point, ? But I have not been going out. I have not been drinking. I've only had 2 drinks since being back from New York. And both of those were at a Liquid IV event. They had this like all the cocktails were made with Liquid IV, which I'd be doing that anyway because I usually get a tequila soda and I will add a Liquid IV. Not every time, but sometimes I do that. For the extra hydration, obviously, and the flavor. But yeah, number 1, I've just kind of been in grind mode. I've just been very focused on the end of the year, what goals I want to accomplish, and kind of how I want my life to look next year. I just haven't really been wanting to go out. Y'all know, I feel like I say this in every podcast, but even just this whole year, like, I did go out a few times at the beginning of the year, but I don't know, I think I just felt like low-key too old. And you know something? Bro, and this is no shade, like, if you still enjoy going out, like, whatever, like, I don't care. Bitch, I could change my mind next month. Whatever. But something interesting I was thinking about is I saw another TikTok where this girl was like, oh, when you turn 24, which is how old I turned this year, and like walk past, it was something like when you walk past the bar you used to go to all the time and see all the 21-year-olds. And I'm like, bro, like, I've seen a lot of posts like that where girls are like 24, 25, 26, and we're just like, I don't know, it's just going out like that doesn't really hit the same. Y'all have heard me say, you know, if I'm gonna go out, like, I would much rather go to dinner, go to like a quaint happy hour, just do something like chic with friends. So it just makes me think like, bro, when I was 20, 21, going out and stuff, I always felt so young. Like, I always felt like everyone was so much older than me. Any guy I talked to would be like at least 26, like usually 28 and above. And this is like at clubs, this is like at bars, this is like out, like nightlife. So it just really makes you think, you know, like, again, like I'm talking about clubs, like I'm talking about that kind of scene. I'm not talking about like, I don't know, going out with your friends to a bar, whatever. Like, I mean, every situation is different, like, but it did just kind of make me think of that. Like, especially when I was like freshly 21, I feel like my friends and I were going out like a lot, and like we kind of, you know, we would see the same people a lot at the clubs, and you kind of get to know people's friend groups and like, oh, like whatever. And just like all those bros were like either about to turn 30 or over 30. And it's like, bro, now I'm 24, and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of, I've outgrown that. Like, there's nothing really in that for me. I guess it's different if you're there making money, but still, like, you know the vibe of like a promoter's friends and how they're just always there? That's like, bro, you're like 36. Like, why are you here? And you know they're not spending any money because they're friends of the promoter. And it's just like, I just can't be around that. Like, you know, bro, I'm not the age of a lot of guys that I talk to and that were talking to me and trying to get with me, you know, when I was 21, under 21 even. And it's just so normalized, you know, and I'm just grateful for social media and that a lot of women are able to share our experiences, and hopefully like the younger generation is just a lot more aware of like, bro, like an older guy liking you is not a compliment. Like, it's weird and it's creepy, and like even if you think you're mature, and that's the fucked thing, because people, like everyone in my life would always tell me like, oh, you're very mature for your age. I think to an extent that's true, but it's like that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, you know, I have anxiety for a reason, okay, bitch? I've been talking about, you know, the vegan days a lot, like on TikTok and stuff, just for comedy, but like also just thinking back to that time and how many adults I was around, and how even after that, when I first moved to Hollywood and stuff, and just like people would always be like, wow, you guys are so young, but you're so mature, like, wow. And it's like, bro, my mind was not fully developed. Like, I was still a teenager. And so for you to have this perception of me like, oh, you're so like mature for your age, you're just an old soul. It's like, but I'm not mentally like there, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't have the brain of an adult. And also with that prefrontal cortex, you know, finishing up its developments, it's like you just realize, bro, it's like so many things make sense now that did not make sense before, or like so many things click now. It's like, oh, that's why this, that, like, I just feel like I see everything so much clearer now. Or I think one of the number one things that like I see so clearly now is just like past situationships, or like I just remember times where like I was so confused on whether or not this guy liked me, and now it's like, bitch, obviously he didn't. But it's like, I mean, that's growth, but that's also just like, so then it also just makes you think, you know, especially in Hollywood, it's so like, oh my God, once a woman is over 25, she's past her prime. And it's like, I feel like I'm just getting started, and not like, I mean, yeah, I guess in a career sense, like, I'm just getting started, but like, just with life, like coming of age movies should start now, not after high school. Bitch, you don't know shit. Like, you don't. And that's just from personal experience. Like, I didn't, and I thought I did. Like, I really thought I did. That's someone who's mature for their age, and like, oh my God, you're such an old soul. It's like, it's just the trauma, babe. It's just the anxiety. I feel like a lot of us know that, you know, a lot of older guys. I mean, older guys will prey on younger girls for a multitude of reasons. But I feel like one of the main reasons is younger women are, you know, you haven't fully grown into yourself. You have to actively work so hard against, I don't know, what society teaches us. And I've said this before on this podcast too, but you know, we're very socialized as women to like, just be quaint and like quiet and like, oh, like don't be a bitch, don't be bossy. And it takes so much work mentally to like overcome that, to like set boundaries and like to tell people no, to tell men no. And like this whole time it's like there's, oh, you don't want to be like, you want to be desirable to men. A man's opinion is the most important, valuable thing. If you're not attractive to men, then like, oh my God, your life is over. Like, here's ways that we can, here, give us your money, we'll make you appeal to men. Literally, bro, literally. And so, obviously, as like a young woman, as someone in your teens, like, you're not like aware of that. I don't know, like, even me, like, I feel like I was brought up pretty feminist. My mom's a feminist. She like instilled a lot of these ideas into us. And it's still like, you don't really know shit until you realize it yourself, until you go through it, and then you're like, oh, that was fucked up, or like, oh, like, I don't want to live like this, whatever. So anyway, no wonder, yeah, of course you like the little 20-year-olds who like don't even know like anything. Like, no offense if you're 20, but it's just like there's so many things you don't know. And again, that's why I am grateful for social media and just the fact that a lot of these conversations are able to be had. I mean, for so many things, so many topics, you know, especially things that are just, you know, that were once considered taboo. Also, I have been wanting a pet like so bad. Obviously, I want a cat, but I also want a dog. And I feel like getting a dog now would be, I just feel like a dog would be able to adapt to change a little bit easier. But I don't know, but just throwing that out there. I don't know. If you guys have any tips or tricks for how to find one, let me know. Anyway, so that's my rant. But yeah, let me know if you relate. Are you disgusted with every man after you've grown up a little bit and just kind of realized how gross so many of those situations were? Because I am. Also, I just have to share this. Like, I already made a TikTok about it, but today I just thought it would be so funny. Like, I think Bretman Rock did this in like probably 2017. But I was going to take my gym pic and I was like, bro, like, you know, it'd be funny if I like facetune this to make it look like I have no ass, whatever. Like, not even just like a flat ass, like no ass. Like, I literally just have legs connected to a torso. Because, you know, I'd be taking my gym pics like at the side, like let's not, you know, show the full ass, but let's like let them know that it's there, you know. But I was like, this would be so funny. And then I put at the bottom like, sorry, I ran out. Because I don't know if you guys have seen the memes where, you know, it's like, oh, give me some cooch, and it's like, sorry, I ran out. Let me get some ass. Sorry, I ran out. I thought this would be a hoot. Like, I thought so many people were gonna like think this was hysterical. Don't get me wrong, a few people did. Thank fuck. So I text Billy right away. I'm like, look at my story. He was like, I don't get it. Like, I was like, bitch, look at it. Because the line, like, it's so, to me at least, it's so obviously like I didn't try to make it look like, I made it purposefully look like bad Facetune. Like, the lines in the back are all curvy, like it's like fucked. The amount of people that just didn't say anything, that just like watched it, like moved on. And what made it even better was like a couple people, Billy included, were like, oh, like I thought like you just looked like that, like I didn't know, like Billy was like, oh, I thought you were just like running too much or something. Somebody literally was like, oh, like where did your ass go? Bro, this is why people get away with Facetune, because it will be this bad, this unrealistic of a photo. This does not look real to me at all. Like it looks fucked. Like it looks like Photoshop, Facetune, whatever. And people are like, oh, like, are you okay? Like it's not even just like, oh, I made my butt look smaller. It's like, no, I erased the butt. It literally just looks like someone dragged an eraser down. And so I posted this on TikTok, and still, again, some people are like, yeah, I thought that was hilarious. I don't get how people don't get this. Like, why do people not get the jokes? It's like, thank you. Because at first I like Facetuned it to make it literally concave. But I was like, no, that's like too much. Like I need it to be like just enough where it's like funny. Not like, okay, it's like the joke's gone too far. Like it's like not funny. Maybe I should have. I don't know if I'm just trained in the art of, but it's like it wasn't even subtle though. Like the whole line is like, fuck, like are you telling me if I did the opposite, if I made my ass look huge, people would like believe that? Maybe. And people were like, oh, I thought it was the angle. Bro, that's the angle that all the bitches do to make their butts poke out. Like, that's why it's funny. Because usually, like, I'm showing, you know, yeah, like, not showing the whole ass, but it's like, it's a side view, so you can see the curve. How would I make it look like I have no ass with my legs in this position, you know? Like, you know those TikToks people do of, like, oh, exposing Kim Kardashian's Facetune, and they, like, zoom in on the curves in the background. I'm always like, oh my god, like, how can he be that famous and, like, have such obvious Facetune? Like, what? But apparently, it works because people just don't notice, and they just accept it as reality. Are you okay? It low-key made it funnier. And just, like, imagining so many people, like, watching that and just moving on. Like, I'm sorry, if I saw that, like, I would think it's so funny. Like, I remember when Bretman Rock did it, like, I think it was something, like, he edited, it was, like, a side-by-side. He was like, oh, like, buy my Get Thick workout or something. And he edited one, like, so flat, like, no ass. And the other one, he Facetuned, like, huge, like, both were obviously Facetuned. Is this not funny to people? Like, I think this is so funny. Anyway, moving on, bitch. So for our main / final question mark topic today, I kind of already talked about this on IG to get some opinions that we could discuss before recording. But I wanted to discuss this recent trend I've noticed, and I tweeted about it a few weeks ago. Like, I think I said something like, it's so funny when celebrities, I don't know, try to be casual or something when you know they're not naturally like that. So have you guys noticed this trend of, I mean, just period, all these celebrities on TikTok? Bro, as a rapper with a full rap career, why are you doing day in my life vlogs on TikTok? It's like, why? Like, like a recent example, and I'll link the TikTok down below, but this guy made a video talking about this recent TikTok Kylie Jenner made, and it's funny because I had her in mind specifically for this before I even saw his TikTok, just with like some of the little vlogs she was doing, and like it just seemed like no one like thought the same, because all the comments were like, oh my god, I love when she posts like this. So this is why I bring this up, because I feel like it has very mixed opinions. It was basically a video of her doing like a lip kit review in her car or something, and she like drops the phone. She's like, oh my god, guys. And he said in his video, like, it was very influencer, it was very Emma Chamberlain, it was very like quirky and casual, and just like, oh, we're like besties face, oh my god, it feels like we're on FaceTime. Bitch, why, as Kylie Jenner, a quote-unquote billionaire, are you doing this? Because it's trendy, because it's quote-unquote relatable, and because it makes you seem, I guess, more relatable to your audience, which is, I don't know, probably women ages 18 to 24, but probably just in the surrounding ages as well. So I remember talking about this just in regards to casual Instagram. That was probably last year at this point. But just how, you know, people were posting a lot more quote unquote casually, but it was still curated. It's like you're trying to be casual. So is it really casual if it's like basically just an aesthetic that you're trying to fit into versus just, and I know, you know, if you post casually, like this doesn't apply to you, but I'm talking about influencers or celebrities that like see, oh, people don't really care so much about these perfectly posed, edited photos. So let's do what they're doing. Let's do these like casual pics. Oh, a blurry pic, a really zoomed in pic. Let's be more relatable to Gen Z. And to a certain extent, I feel like it's just trends changing over time. But I think it's also interesting specifically with the TikTok kind of vibe of like, oh, like let's pick up on this TikTok jargon and like, let's just, because it's kind of like you're changing your whole personality. Or like, it reminds me of when brands say things like, hey besties, use our code for 70% off. Sign up for text updates. It's like, you're not my bestie, fuck out of here. So it's something I've noticed, and I think I have a problem with it because it's not like they're fully committing to the relatable lifestyle. You will go, Miss Kylie, you will go and post this quirky, relatable TikTok vlog. Oh my God, she drops her phone while she's recording just like us. And then you will go on IG and post your private jet as a flex. So it's like you're not relatable. You're trying to be relatable. And basically they're just doing that to sell you things because they know that this is like trendy right now. Like that certain quirky tone and like, oh my God, like I'm just like a relatable girl, like setting up my camera. Somebody said it's smart for marketing and PR and probably is fake, but I do kind of enjoy seeing celebrities act normal. So that's another thing. I know I've talked about celebrity culture and how it's changed over the years, especially with social media. Like I remember as a kid, I specifically remember being at my grandma's house watching Hannah Montana. She was probably like 14 or 15 at the time. And just thinking like, oh my God, like Miley Cyrus, like I really thought she specifically, because that's just what we were watching, and just celebrities, like I didn't even think they wiped their own butts. Like I literally remember being like, well, how does she like go to the bathroom? Like how does she do anything? Like they were just seemed so out of reach and so like, oh my God, like there was still that kind of facade, like, oh my God, if you see someone in a magazine, that's like so cool. Because social media really wasn't a thing yet. Like I think MySpace was around back then, but like it wasn't like you could just go on a celebrity's IG and see like how they type, how they think. It's not like everyone's just sharing their thoughts on Twitter and IG stories all the time, you know. But now it's like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I'm just saying this is how it's changed. Like celebrities are a lot more relatable. I think a lot of that facade is gone because they can reveal like how out of touch they are, or just like how dumb they are, and just how they don't get a lot of things that like normal people go through, or like whatever. I think it's just a lot easier and more accessible to become a celebrity these days, or just to get followers, because anybody can just log on and start posting. Like you don't have to, oh, let me go audition for something, and like hopefully I make it into this film, or hopefully I make it into modeling. Like you have to physically like put yourself out there. You can't just like sit at home and make a video. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it's just more accessible. Like you can just do it on your own. You can gain followers, especially with Gen Z and just, you know, a lot of people in general caring about the environment, caring about, you know, certain issues, and a lot of it becoming a lot more mainstream. It's not like, oh, I'm such like a hippie because I care about the planet. It's like, no, bitch, we're actually like at a pretty bad like point in history as far as a lot of things go, but especially as far as global warming goes. So it's like seeing a celebrity with their private jet taking these 30-minute rides when they could have, you know, at least been in a car or whatever. It's like, ew, like they're so out of touch. They only care about themselves. You don't care about people at all. You're hoarding wealth and like blah blah blah. So it's like, ew, like eat the rich, you know, like destroy the idea of a celebrity. You're just like us, get off your high horse and do something. And then it's like they realize that they're gonna try to be relatable. I'm just like you, but it's like you're not, and you never were. You grew up like this. Especially that. And I think the guy in the TikTok I saw said that, like, oh, they never grew up normal. you know? So it's like they have to look at other normal kids or people on TikTok or whatever to see like, oh, like what do they like? That's just such a good example of like the power really is in the people. Like you think, oh, I'm looking up to this celebrity, they're such an icon and their style is so good, but it's like they're looking to other people and like they're trying to see what the consumer is going to, especially, you know, them specifically, just like such a prime example, you know, for our generation. They're looking to other people and like, you know, all these stories of like, oh, them ripping off small brands, small creators, whatever. So it's like they're kind of nothing without us, and the same goes for the government. Okay, so a few of the other replies, and I just posted this story, so it's not like there's that many replies yet. Somebody else said, please, it's giving get the fuck out of here. Yawn. I agree that they need to stick to one side because then it will feel more genuine. Gonna be a little private jet girly, just be that, you know, be out of touch, do whatever. But for you to be like, welcome to a day in my just like quaint, humble life. Not pictured. My 32 housekeepers, my 52 Rolls Royces, my nannies, my chefs, my butlers. They're only being relatable because it's gonna sell products. You're doing this lip kit review in your car with the phone falling down because doing the swatches by your pool isn't with your Cartier bracelets just isn't going to cut it anymore. And I have been seeing some videos recently about influencer marketing changing and how just it doesn't really work anymore. It's a lot less organic, you know, all of these influencer events and even just brand deals in general. Like when I do a brand deal, I know people know it's a brand deal. And just in general, if I see someone do it, it's like I know, okay, they're just getting paid to do this. It's not like, oh my God, this cool new product that they happen to know about. But I feel like also the rules, the FTC guidelines have gotten just a little more, not strict, but just a little more enforced, or like, I don't know, because I guess a lot of people don't even disclose when they do ads too, but I feel like I don't mind it. I just wonder how much truth there is to that, because I know like if I do an Adam and Eve brand deal, but I'm giving people a 50% off code Stella, by the way, you're gonna use that. You know, and I think that's like the perk. Like if it's a product you want, like you're probably gonna use that person's code even though you know it's sponsored. So I don't know how much I relate to that. I do agree like how it looks will probably change and like influencer events and stuff. I just feel like it's at a point now where like everybody knows, yeah, this event is so the brand can be posted on all these people's stories and be promoted. You know, this person saying thank you to today's sponsor. And that's why I really prefer to just do like a sponsor like that, like in a YouTube video. I prefer to be like, thank you for this to this brand for sponsoring today's video, because it's just more like bro, PBS, thank you. PBS Kids, thank you to viewers like you. But maybe it's just like when people are being sneaky and like not disclosing when it's an ad. Or like, oh my God, I love this product so much. I do happen to have a code. Bro, I feel like big influencers have like lied about that before. I feel like the Ace family like did something that was so obviously sponsored. Like I don't remember. This was like a few years ago. But I just remember watching like, bro, like this is so obviously sponsored. But they were like, it's not sponsored. But it like was. And they had like an affiliate link or something. Maybe because it was like an affiliate program and not technically sponsored, but I doubt you're gonna have that many subscribers and not be paid like a flat fee for posting anything, even if you are getting like an affiliate link and a percentage of sales. Like I just really doubt that. So anyway, it'll just be really interesting to see how things change. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of that, and like if you are a creator, let me know your thoughts. And if you're not a creator and you're just someone who, you know, watches, what are your thoughts? Like, do you mind, are you like bothered when people are like straight up about a sponsor? How do you feel? Do you feel like it's changed over time? Like in the YouTube space specifically, I feel like that's been around the longest. But yeah, I'm planning a lot of fun stuff. I'm really in plan mode right now, just for Mercury retrograde and stuff. But yeah, I've been on grind mode, and I just hope the end of this year is like smooth popping and just a great transition to next year. Let's remain hopeful, y'all. Let's remain hopeful the world doesn't end just yet. We have a few more goals to accomplish. But let me know your thoughts on anything I discussed today, and don't be afraid to tell them your coffee order's wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share on your IG story, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.